This is number 7 through 9 on the study guide. What I notice on 7 is that, first off, they tell me it's a regular pyramid, which means that this shape down here is regular. For a shape to be regular and have 4 sides, we're talking about a square. Second thing I notice is that it comes together at a tip. When it comes together at a tip, that changes my volume formula to be 1/3 the original size, and the original size would be the area of the base times the height. Now, if you look at our shape here, the area of our base is actually a square. However, they actually do tell us right here that the B, this letter right here, is going to be 24, and they tell me that my slant height here is going to actually be 13, which means we need to be careful because we don't actually know the real height. The letter that we need here is the real height, not the slant height. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a right triangle here with the real height. And the real height is going to be right there from the center. That's what we're trying to find out. We're going to call that X. But if you notice here, this is going to be the center of our shape. If it's 24 across, halfway there makes this 12. So now if we look at our right triangle here, I've got a hypotenuse of 13, I got a side length here of 12, and this is going to be X. So I can use Pythagorean theorem to figure out what that side is. So leg squared plus leg squared is equal to the hypotenuse squared. So x squared plus 12 times 12 is 144 equals 169. So if we subtract 144 from both sides, we get that x squared is equal to 25, and the inverse of squaring is square rooting, so that x is equal to 5. So that means my height here, the h, is going to be 5 units. And that also means that we've got to now put this into our formula. Volume is 1/3 the area of the base. The base shape is a square. So if it's a square, that means it's going to have the same number times itself because its side squared is the area of a base of a square. And then that would be multiplied times how tall this particular pyramid is. So we're going to put that in our calculator now. 24 times 24. Or 24 squared, and then that's going to be multiplied times 5, and the last thing we're going to do is say divide by 3. And what I'm going to get here is that the volume is 960, but since they didn't give me units, we're going to actually say it's units cubed. On number 8, if you'll notice here, we got to count how many sides we have. We have a prism and it's regular, so let's count the sides. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. This is a hexagon. Now when we have a hexagon, we can actually do the area of that base by finding 1/2 times the apothem times the perimeter. So that's our first goal here. So we're going to draw a hexagon. I'm actually going to go down here from where I had before. Hexagon has 6 sides. And if it's a regular hexagon, it means that each of these sides are congruent. If we put the center point here in the center, and we make triangles that connect each of the vertices, that's where the vertex are, so each of the vertices, that makes a total of 6 triangles. So we have 360 degrees all the way around to separate by 6 triangles. What does that mean? It means in a single triangle, we have a 60-degree angle. That's like one of these. So now we're told that the side length here is 8 meters. So if I drop the apothem, or that line segment that goes from the center to the opposite side here, now I'm splitting this angle. It's no longer 60, it's half of that. That's going to be 30 degrees. And I'm splitting this side right here, so that's no longer going to be 8. We're going to say that this little section here is 4. And so now we're trying to find the apothem. So I'm going to go ahead and redraw this right triangle that we now are working with. This is 30 degrees. This is 4, and I'm trying to find the apothem, how tall it is. So if you look, I've got the number opposite, and I have adjacent. So I can use tangent for this. Tangent of 30 is going to be opposite over adjacent. Now if I multiply both sides by x, x tangent of 30 is now equal to 4. And if I divide both sides here by tangent of 30, that's going to get rid of the tangent of 30 on this side. And in my calculator, then I can do 4 divided by tangent of 30. And what I get for this answer is 4 square root of 3. That's the apothem. So now I'm ready to go back up to my formula up here. Area is, and this is just the area of the base, 1/2 times the apothem. The apothem we just found to be 4 square root of 3 times the perimeter of this shape. Now, it's a hexagon, which means it has 6 sides. And if there are 6 sides and each side is 8, 6 times 8 is 48. So there's my perimeter. So now what I can do is I can say I've got 4 square root of 3 times 48, and then all that divided by 2. And what that gives me is, excuse me, just a second, 96 pi if you want to be exact. But if we're going to go ahead and we can go ahead and approximate, which is fine too. So if we're going to approximate, actually no, I think I'm going to leave it as 96 square root of 3 here. So we've got 96 square root of 3 for when we multiply this. And another way you could have done this was half of 4 was 2. 2 times 48 is 96 square root of 3. So that's going to be the area of the base. Now, for any prism, the volume formula is going to be the area of the base times the height. So here we've got the area of the base. We already found it. The area of the base is going to be 96 square root of 3. Now all we have to do is multiply by how tall this height is, which if you look, this height is 10 units tall. So now we can either say our answer is 960 square root of 3, or if you want, you can throw that into your calculator. Give me just a second. And that's going to be approximately 1,662.8 units. Now let's look at what our units are. Meters cubed. Meters cubed here. So either one of these answers. Alright, on our last problem here, I have a hemisphere. So basically, we're going to take the volume of a sphere, 4/3 pi r cubed, and whatever that is, we're going to divide that final answer by 2, and that will be half of it, the hemisphere. So we're going to look for the radius, which is 9. So the volume is 4/3 pi 9 cubed, and then all of that at the very end, we're going to divide by 2. So let's go ahead and put it in. We've got 4 times pi times 9 cubed, and then that's going to be divided by 3. And what I get is 972 pi, but don't forget, we still have to take all of that and divide it by 2. So we divide everything by 2, and our final answer here is going to be 486 pi yards, its volume, so yards cubed.